In 2 hours' time, this fantastic venue will be jam-packed with passionate squash fans as we enter the final phase of the Gouna International 2026. In the women's final, it's a battle for the world #1 spot, and in the men's final, a guaranteed new name on the trophy in 2026. So, let's get into the thick of the action. And welcome along to the 6th and final platinum event of the 2025-2026 squash season. It's the Gouna International Squash Open 2026, a platinum event on the PSA Squash Tour. And we've got David Campion and Lisa Aitken in the studio. A very busy evening already for some of us. Lisa Aitken, you've just come from the Ram Challenge. Just heard you commentating on Ramy Ashour and the French General Greg Gauthier. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, that was cool. That was very cool to see those two back on court. Two legends of the game, 4 World Championship titles between the two of them. It was a treat for the crowd here on the Red Sea. And David, there they are, the two greats of a former generation going head-to-head this evening. David, I hear you've been swimming with dolphins today.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've taken in the beautiful scenery and the sun, you know, here in Gouna in the Red Sea. But yeah, look, we've got squash royalty here with Gregory Gaultier, Ramy Ashour, 3-time world champion. Saw Greg win in Seattle 2015. I think that's you know, when my brother was there competing. But yeah, no, it's an amazing event for to see these two guys here. I mean, two absolute legends of the game, and very fitting to have Ramy here in Gouna at this event.
It's been around all week. Excellent stuff. So let's have a look at our order of play today. 14th edition of the Gouna Squash International. It's finals day. Hania Hamami, the top seed, takes on Nour El Shabini, the #2 seed, for the world #1 spot. That's the big news coming out of the women's draw. And in the men's draw, Diego Elias and Mohamed Zakaria should have a little faster affair between those two, as it was last night between Diego Elias against Mustafa Asal in the semi-final. But that is also big news. The defending champion out, so Mustafa Asal tumbles out of the tournament, and so many things to unpack here with our studio guests. So where do we want to start? The good, the bad, or the ugly?
Well, I'll start by saying, I guess, that Mustafa Asal's reached every platinum that he's played in this season so far, and this is the first one that he hasn't. It's in Egypt. You probably would expect, with the form that he's been in, the run that he's been on. Obviously lost to Diego Elias and Optasia, but before that the run was unbelievable, and you'd expect him to do the business here. So I'm really pleased, actually, to see just two fresh faces, two new names in the final.
Yeah, he's put an end to that 27-match winning streak that Mustafa Asal had, which was pretty incredible in itself. Just your take on what we all saw last night. A great game of squash right until the bitter end.
I mean, look, it was a brilliant match. And you got the two heavyweights, and obviously the fifth game, the outcome of that wasn't what we wanted to see. I mean, personally, in my personal opinion, I think the referees were quite harsh, and I think I would have liked to have seen the match unfold and organically just finish, as opposed to the way it did.
Okay, let's remind everyone back home of what happened last night. So this is the men's semi-final between Mustafa Asal and Diego Elias, toe-to-toe right until the fifth. 2 games all at this stage, and Asal getting a 6-1 lead in the fifth at one stage.
Yeah, he did, and it all was a result of this incident here, really, to be honest. The knee of Mustafa Asal went into the IT band area of Diego's leg, and it gave him a dead leg, and he raced off to a 6-1 lead, a 7-2 lead. Elias, we thought, was going to just be very disinterested and give the game away, but then walk back up to the party.
And out 3-7.
We're going to see a number of strokes given in a minute. I mean, this is an 8-7 lead for Asal, and another stroke. Just keep an eye on his foot movement here. It's almost like a little bunny hop move back, David.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought it was harsh. I mean, yeah, give a stroke away. Well, let's listen to Andrew.
The decision is a stroke. The decision is a stroke. It's also a conduct stroke for the accumulation of poor movement throughout the rally. You move back into his line, causing unnecessary contact. 9-8 from the left. it's the stroke. I've just explained it's a stroke and then the conduct stroke for the accumulation of poor movement.
So the accumulation of poor movement, it's really important we pay attention to the language the match referees are using.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and I sat down earlier, didn't we, with the referees to try and understand how, from their point of view, that match unfolded, what specific things that they were looking for, where they were continually seeing those movements happen from Mustafa Sal, and then eventually, obviously, heavily penalising him in that moment. In my opinion, in that specific moment, I think that was a little bit harsh. It completely changed the outcome of the match, didn't it? He was very confused. All credit to him, he was very calm in receiving that very bad news in that moment. He kept his composure. In the past, he hasn't done that, but it totally threw him off. I mean, he whacked the tin in the very next rally, and then that that affected the outcome of the match completely.
Yeah. Anything to add?
Yeah, look, Mustafa Sal's been a little bit of a naughty boy over the last couple of years. But if you look at 2 years ago, how he was reacting to decisions, there was a lot of shouting. His behaviour on court last night is, in terms of like how he conducts himself with the referee and his opponents. I mean, he showed a lot of class at the end with Diego, congratulating him on the win. I agree with Lisa, he looked very confused. Where is he supposed to move, sort of thing, on some of those balls. I mean, I agree that it was a stroke, but I think to give a double stroke at that point was not the right decision. And sometimes you just have to look at the environment that you're in, the state of the match. It was a brilliant game of squash. But actually, for a 5-game match, 90 minutes, there wasn't an absolute ton of decisions. The ones that were made were very controversial. I mean, I don't like the left hand, for example. It goes a bit stiff. I think that is a little bit unnatural. I think some of that movement on and off the ball, for me, is a big guy, is a powerful guy, and that's the way he moves. And you've got two heavyweight guys there, big fellas, moving around each other brilliantly around the front of the court without any issues.
Is it the players' responsibility then? Does this responsibility lie with the players? Don't even bring the officials into it. Don't bring the match referees into it. Govern this yourself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the referees are there for a reason. They are there to make decisions like that, and naturally they have to come in at times. But we do see a lot of matches where the players, do need to take more responsibility there. I mean, he was warned quite a lot, and he has obviously got the history. He's been warned in the past. He's been banned in the past.
Is he making every effort to clear? That's the other wording that we heard from the match referees. Every effort to clear. We know that hand's there. It takes up a bit of extra space. We talked earlier in the week, is that a natural movement? Is he making every effort, or is he just making a little bit of effort to clear?
It's very subjective. I think sometimes he makes every effort, and a lot of time he still isn't making every effort to clear, and that's where the referees last night were penalising. They felt that he was holding in a little bit, not dropping off. He was leaving the back leg out at times, and obviously the new trailing arm that's been clocked. It was those three things really: the movement off the ball, the holding. When the players are circling round each other, he's very close. He's always very close to his opponent, and you see perhaps sometimes down the backhand wall, for example, you've got the rally going round and round. The players give each other room to come in and out. He's always very close to his opponent, and that's not making every effort to clear, and that's what they clamped down on last night. But as Camp said, it was a fantastic match. I thought the referee-wise, oh, hello, how are you doing?
A young guest just joining us there.
Where have you come from?
Come on in. Get her a microphone. We can ask her about this incident.
Looking for a mummy.
One thing I do want to touch on as well is what happened after the match, because we saw this behind the scenes. It didn't make it onto television, but Andrea Santamaria literally getting physically threatened, verbally threatened after the match.
Yeah, we've got such a unique situation here in squash, whereby the referee is in the thick of it, in the crowd, in the fans. There's no perimeter that kind of keeps her safe or him safe. She's right there in the thick of it, and it's a very unique situation. What happened last night is absolutely atrocious. It's flat out abuse. And it started right from the start of the match. You had players, you had coaches, you had fans, you had every spectator in there. The two in her row were shouting abuse at her right from the word go, and that's unacceptable. We can't have that in sport. Full stop. Never mind squash.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, you can't. I mean, that was just. You can't have that in the sport. But I mean, going back to Mustafa, I just think, James has done a lot of work with him on these movements, that you're talking about, Lisa, and I agree. I think that where he is now from where he was 2 years ago, there's much improvement.
Yeah, loads.
And we've seen 5-6 months of fairly clean work from him on the court there and how he moves on off the ball. Obviously, when Diego's come back and things get a little bit tighter, perhaps there's a bit,
That's why they clamped down on him so hard in that 5th game, is because they thought, well, it's been all right up until now, but it's close, and that's typically when they start to see the things from Asal that they're looking for, and they penalise him for. It comes when the match gets close. What I loved about Diego Elias's interview afterwards was he quite clearly acknowledged that they were winners. The shots that Asal hit, they are winners. He is winning the rally by hitting those shots, but unfortunately he's hanging in, he's getting penalised for hanging in and not giving a direct line to the ball.
Okay, well, plenty of debate on this one, and I'm sure you're all part of it as well. And yeah, it will rage on into the night. We'll talk a little bit more about the men's final very shortly. Ahead of that, of course, 7:30, the squash gets going with Hania El Hammamy and Nour El Shibini in that battle for the world #1 spot. Don't go anywhere.
If you're playing squash, you need to have a strong ankle. So here are 3 exercises to help you reduce your risk of injury. This exercise is going to help you mobilize the ankle joint. You're going to set up a few inches away from a wall or a bench, and you're going to go forwards over your big toe, your middle toe, and your pinky toe, making sure you keep your heel on the ground the entire time. Next, we're going to focus on calf strength. You're going to start in a lunge position, and then you're going to do a heel raise as high as you can, and you're going to hold it, keeping that balance. When you get advanced, you can start to add some weights by your side. Last exercise, we're going to work on some calf endurance. So you're going to push down against that weight, slowly resisting for 5 seconds, and then pop it back up. You're going to do 20 to 30 reps of this one.
Squash is heading to the Olympics at last. But inclusion isn't the end of our journey. This is how we turn pride into progress. Players, clubs, fans, federations, one movement. This is Rally 28. Support squash, build a legacy.
So next up, we're going to be talking about Diego Elias against Mohamed Zakaria. It's Peru versus Egypt for, well, a first-time name on the championship trophy. So could Diego Elias be the first non-Egyptian since Greg Gauthier in 2017 to get his name on this elusive trophy? Hasn't done it so far in his career. There's a look back at some of the other men's champions to date. What do we pull out of that then, Camps?
Well, Egyptians win in Egypt. Yeah, the track record is there, isn't it? But look, I think Diego is back to his best. He's a world champion. He's going to be very confident coming in tonight. I mean, I know it was a tough match last night, but I think he looks in great shape. Yeah, Zakaria is obviously going to be a real handful at the moment. I mean, he's in scintillating form, isn't he, for such a youngster? But I mean, amazing matchup, isn't it? I mean, they haven't really. There's no real history. I think they've played once.
Yeah, twice before.
Twice.
Last time was at the TOC in January of this season, with Elias coming out on top by 3 games to 1. Lisa, just your thought on those list of amazing winners here in El Gouna, 14th edition this year of the El Gouna International.
My initial thoughts are Miss Ali Farag, winner of this event 3 times, and obviously Rami Ashour, another legend of the game that we saw up there. Egyptians win in Egypt, 64 Egyptian tournaments and only 4 non-Egyptian winners. It's unbelievable.
Why is that? I mean, we've touched on it in the week, but why is that?
Well, I'm not Egyptian, so I can't tell you really, but I mean, they love it here.
Is it just this tournament, or is it just across the board?
It's the familiarity. They've got the chance to have their family and friends here. The crowds, as you can see, are unbelievable. They obviously get right behind them, and it's a chance for them to show off, isn't it? And I think they like that.
This chap's certainly going to be enjoying it. He's made it through to his first platinum final. Mohamed Zakaria is now the youngest Egyptian player ever at 18 years and 6 months to make it through to a major final. So congratulations to him. He's the current world number 8, 2-time world junior champion, and in his maiden platinum final here on the PSA Squash Tour.
Yeah, I mean, he's such an amazing prospect. Well, when I say prospect, he's arrived, hasn't he? I mean, look at that. But you know, 18, it's such a mature player, Michael.
20 years, I think, since we saw Rami Ashour there at 19 years of age in the Hong Kong Open final.
Yeah, and it's such an incredible, you know, the way he plays the game, his game intelligence, his squash IQ, it's up there with those greats. Amazing squash player.
You've watched him evolve this season, Lisa. What do you make of young Mohammed?
Yeah, do you know what? He has actually improved a lot as the season's unfolded. But we see the players take a lot of time in the summer to make tweaks and changes to their games. They go back to the drawing board and they look at what worked and what didn't work throughout the season. But all credit to him, he did do that, but he's also continued to involve those technical subtleties that he's working on with his coach Jonathan Power as the season's unfolded, and he's hit the ground running at a really good time in the season, hasn't he, with what's coming up.
What are we expecting from this matchup? I mean, one player from Peru, 29 years of age, another young Egyptian, 18 years of age. Does the age become a factor, or is it more about the experience and you know, where are the advantages lying?
Well, you'd think the experience, but I mean, what Zachariah's doing and the way he's cutting through players, you know, it's like he is a seasoned professional that's got many major titles under his belt. But
you'd not met him before this week, so what was your take on? He comes into the studio after each of those wins. What was your take?
He's very light. I mean, he doesn't smile much on court, but he's very light when he comes into the studio, and you can see him around the venue, and he's quite a happy, you know, go-lucky, light fella, and he said that himself. But I just like the way he constructs his rallies, and he's very mature. You know, he's finding the back of the court, but he gets the depth. Yeah, Jonathan Power talks to him a lot about finding your depth, finding the back of the court, not just hitting to the back. And then he volleys, and he's bringing in all these ranges of shots, you know, and the head speed. He's holding now a lot. He's taking the forehand drop in brilliantly, and he moves so well. I mean, I can't understand how he's moving, how he can keep sustain the endurance that he's got already at such a young age.
Okay, let's switch our attention to the women's final then. The battle for world number one between Hania El Hammamy and Nour El Shibini. They've battled it out in several majors before. Here's those major titles, won since 2020. So 13 for Hania El Hammamy, 21 for Nour El Shibini in 7 previous major final meetings. In those head-to-heads, 4-3 in favour of the current world number one, Hania El Hammamy. So Camps, let's just see what you think of those stats that we've thrown your way.
Yeah, I mean, these are the 2 best players in the world right now currently, and you know, Shibini, one of the best players, well, probably the best player of all time. But if you look at that, we've got, you know, it's actually 3-2 this season in terms of like results between these 2. So the head-to-head, you know, if you look at that, previous meetings in major finals, it's 4-3. But actually, this season, it's 3-2 to Hania, and 3 out of those 5 have been 3-2.
We've waved farewell to Lisa Aitken, and we say good evening to Jana Shiha. Good evening,
Michael.
Fantastic evening. It's all set up nicely, isn't it, for this one, the battle between the 2 Egyptian greats?
I mean, both of our, like, the encounters are very, very exciting every single time, but now they're taking it up a notch, because now it's just exciting, but also it's the battle for world number one, and I think they're very close in the score, so, and then the points, so I think every single time it's going to be a battle for world number one, and it's going to be very fun to watch.
Hania El Hammamy beat Amina Orfi yesterday in a very spicy affair. We'll get into the thick of this action here, but a good convincing 3-love victory for her, Jana.
Yeah, Hania played immaculate squash yesterday. I mean, in the first half of that first game, she was 7-5 down. Then she was able to, I mean, she was a little bit dragged into Amina's game, and then the second she found her game plan and her rhythm, she turned it like 180. We see here the infamous celebration yesterday. Again, like, there has been an incident between these 2 last month in the Egyptian league during Ramadan, and you know, Hania had a blood injury and she had to go out and fix it with the physio, but then she got in and wasn't wrapped really well, fell off, blood came out again, so she conduct stroke and a conduct game, hence, because there were 2 also, the match was for Orfi, and then the mom just did that celebration, which, you know, isn't usually done in sports. So I think for Hania it was very personal, and I think, again, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to the parents of Amina Orfi, and the father was unfortunately banned twice, and he just got off a 6-month ban, and he's back. But again, I mean, there's the attitude, you know, it affects the girl as well on court. Like, Amina Orfi, if I'm on court and my parents behave in a certain way that isn't really positive, it wouldn't, you know, show a lot. I mean, it is showing because she's playing really well. But again, like, a celebration like this, if I rewatch the match, it would put the squash aside. Just the personal side of things is not really great emotionally and mentally for the player. But again, for the viewers and for the sport, it was great to see Hania doing that at the end. So I think it's, you know, depending on how you look at it, but for sure, like, an attitude coming from whoever, the players or the parents, would not be great for sure.
Okay, Camps, just a thought on that win yesterday for Hania El Hammamy and the manner in which she went about her business.
Yeah, she looked very lax. She got tactics right. She didn't overhit. She let Orphy almost hit herself out, and she just picked her off. She picked a shot. She was very selective. She injected at the right time, used a lot of height, and was prepared to extend the rallies and make it really difficult for Orphy.
Okay, we're going to keep talking a little bit more about the battle for world #1 very shortly. Hania El Hammamy against Nour El Shibini in an all-Egyptian women's final, getting going just after 7:30 local time, so not long to wait. Keep glued to your screens here. That'll be followed by the men's final, Elias versus Zakaria.
Every squash player needs a strong split step. Here are 3 exercises to help you improve that power. First exercise is going to be 3 pogos and then landing on one leg. You're going to jump as high as you can, and then you're going to land on one leg, and then repeat, other side. Second exercise is a skater bound, working on that lateral power. You're going to bound side to side, stabilize, and then repeat. Third exercise is going to be a lateral hop. You're going to just go back and forth, staying on the ball of your foot. Go as fast as you can.
The nick. The nick is the holy grail of a squash court. The part of the court where the wall and the floor meet can make the ball completely irretrievable if it lands there. Typically hit from a high angle, aiming right at the corner just above the tin, the cross-court nick is our slam dunk, our home run, our Hail Mary. It's a definitive, explosive and flashy shot that never gets old.
It is 10 minutes until the players are out onto court, so not long to wait for Hania El Hammamy versus Nour El Shibini, the battle for world #1. And Shibini is a fantastic player, but she didn't really get challenged in her semi-final because Olivia Weaver retiring from the match after just 15 minutes. We understand that it's a hamstring strain, and that follows up from her adductor issue that she had at the London Classic at the beginning of the season. So we wish her a speedy recovery, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, I was commentating that match, and I was very unfortunate to see how she wasn't even able to try at least a game. I mean, I think the first game was 11-2, and I think she was limping since the start of the match. And also, I was just wondering why she couldn't, why she wouldn't concede earlier, because, you know, again, there's world champs in a month, and her just doing a lot of effort on the injury would just make it worse, and we don't want any more damage on the muscle for sure.
Thoughts there of Jana Shiha and David Campion in the studio with us as well. Let's have a look at the freshness of both players coming into this women's final. You can see there Hania El Hammamy's played 179 minutes. That's 78 minutes more than Nour El Shibini at 101 camps. So does that favour her slightly?
Yeah, Shibini will take that all day long. I mean, look, she's got enough matches in the tank over her career. She'll be coming into this really fresh, you know, and I think she needs that. She'll really need to be fresh against El Hammamy. I mean, this is going to be, you know, really brutal for her physically if she's going to be successful tonight. So the fact that she's coming in fresh will be a real advantage for her.
They've met 30 times before on the PSA Squash Tour. It is 12-18 in those head-to-heads, 18 in favour of Nour El Shibini. And the last of those meetings was at the Optasia Championships just 12 days ago in the women's final there. So what may or may not have changed there, because that was just a 31-minute match, a 3-love victory to Hania El Hammamy.
It was a 31-minute match, and I think it's similar conditions, also a final and also a world battle for the world #1. But again, Hania El Hammamy was able to get that and win that in 3. So I think Shibini is definitely going to have that in the back of her head, not only to win the tournament, back to the world #1, but also just a revenge response to the previous match as well. So I think she's fresh, hasn't played yesterday a lot, so we're definitely going to see another version of her than Optasia.
Outdoors versus indoors as well. I know we're in the sports hall there at the Wimbledon Club, so does that must make a little bit of a difference as well?
It can do if you've got on a blustery evening, you get a bit of wind knocking about, but I think tonight is very calm. You know, so I don't think that'll really have any impact on the match tonight, and I think Shibini's very used to playing in these environments anyway.
Okay, let's have a look at the points as things stand. So this is from the 6th of April. So remember, every Monday the world rankings are released, and just 3 points separating Hania El Hammamy at world number 1 and Nour El Shibini at world number 2. You can see the rest of them all nibbling away at their heels as well. This is the impact if Hania El Hammamy wins. It's a simple shootout. I mean, we don't even need to overcomplicate this. Whoever wins tonight goes to world number 1.
Winner takes it all. Yes, I mean, it was a little bit complicated before they both reached the final, but now it's just simple. You know, whoever wins take it all. Everything. I mean, the tournament and world number 1. So they're both going to be thinking about it. Maybe Hania would have a little bit of confidence because of Aptasia. Maybe not. Maybe it'll add a lot more pressure. You never know what's going on in a player's head. But for sure, Shibini she's been playing incredibly well throughout the whole week. I mean, so was Hammamy, but again, she hasn't played yesterday. So I think she'll give us something to watch for sure tonight.
Camp, she did say earlier in the week to you that she would rather win a 9th World Championship. She'll get the opportunity to do that next month at Palm Hills at the World Championships there. She'd rather have that 9th World Championship than win this tournament necessarily and go back to world number 1.
Yeah, but I also think she'd like to be greedy as well, Michael. I think she'll be going for this. I mean, she'll throw everything at this, and you know, she's such a fantastic player. I mean, they both are, and this is why it's a great matchup. You know, got the best 2 players in the world. You know, playing off for world number 1 tonight. You know, and they have such fantastic matches, don't they? And it's, you know, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Where do the other margins lie? I mean, you've got Karim Darwish in Hania El Hammamy's corner. He's a former winner here in 2010. And Gregory Gaultier, the French general, we saw him out there, former world number 1. He's in Nour El Shibini's camp.
I mean, Gaultier's been really busy this week. The squash retreat, the Ram Challenge, and coaching all his players. So he's been pretty busy, but hopefully we'll just have time for the final. But I think, yeah, I mean, they both have incredible former world number 1s in both corners, and I think that just makes a huge difference, as well as Hammamy having Laura Massaro on her side, also previous world number 1, and a woman to have, you know, to be able to coach another woman is just great. Me as a female player.
Why is that important?
So many things. I mean, it's a male-dominated game, has been, and obviously we're trying to. It's a lot better now. I mean, everything is equal now, but I mean, 10 years ago it wasn't, especially in Egypt. You know, the likes of Omnaya Abdelawi and Ranimi Oulili were the first people to actually introduce squash back in Egypt. It was just, you know, male-nominated, Ahmed Barada practically, and then just having to be able to talk to another woman who's also not only is a woman coach, but also has gone through everything I'm currently going through emotionally and mentally is just huge for a girl. And I think this is something that Swat really talked about a lot, and I think this is definitely one of the things that's giving a lot more into Hania's game, not just the squash part, but just the mental part for sure.
Camps, during your time at England Squash, is this the sort of conversations you would have in-house?
Yeah, I mean, it's vital. I mean, I couldn't agree more with what Shana's saying there, and you know, it's I think it's been a great addition to Hania. You know, she's got Karim Darwish, you've got 2 former world number 1s. You've got the head doctor, Laura's husband, Danny Massaro, and I think it's, you know, it's working great for her. You know, it's a great team behind her, great setup for her. But yeah, I mean, that's why she's looking so relaxed and playing so well.
Okay, ladies first, let's get your predictions for the women's final and the men's final. We'll start with the women's from you, I was going to call you Shiha.
You can if you want me.
Jana.
It is still my name. I will go with, I mean, Joey asked me very first day, I'll go with Hammamy. Do you need a score as well?
No, I don't need a score. So okay. Hammamy for the women's, who's going to win the men's?
I will go with Diego.
Okay, so another non-Egyptian winning it. Remember Gregory Gaultier, 2017, last non-Egyptian to win it. So Camps, time for your predictions.
Yeah, as much as I love Shibini, I love watching her play, I love everything she's achieved in the game. I just think this is Hania's time right now. I don't think it's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to back Hania. I think she's looking a complete player at the moment, and she's going to be so difficult to beat. It's not unachievable for Shibini. You can never write her off, but she's the person that I'm going with on that one. And I think Diego is a favourite for me, although he's going to be pushed really hard by Zachariah.
Good stuff. Just take this time to take in the atmosphere. Everyone's here. It's been a great organised event, hasn't it? We talk a bit about the branding and the organisation, but this really is a special moment, this Platinum event, the last Platinum event of the season.
Yeah, last Platinum event of the season. I mean, I personally love Gouna. It's a place that I go even when squash is not involved whatsoever. But yeah, it's an amazing tournament.
Okay, we are ready and raring to go. The players are itchy to get out onto court. We'll start with the women's final, Hania El Hammamy versus Nour El Shibini. Who's going to lift the title this evening? Here's Safi to get the players on court.